allegiance, and then if you please remain standing for a brief moment of silence. Commissioner Sonata, would you lead us in the pledge, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing. We'll have a moment of silence. Thank you. Vanessa, would you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Sinata?
Here.
Commissioner Kennedy?
Here.
Commissioner Vogler?
Here. Thank you, Vanessa. We have, at each meeting, we have two opportunities for public comment, one in just a few moments and then one before we adjourn. You're welcome to speak both times. If you prefer to speak one of two times, that's fine. Or if you're just here to listen, that's equally fine. We do ask that your comments be related to county government matters, and if you could try to limit your time to about 5 minutes out of respect for everybody's schedules, we would appreciate that courtesy as well. We always set aside time for any of our elected row officers who might have anything they wish to speak about, but right now none of them are in the room. So that does take us to public comment, and I'll open up the floor and see if anybody has a comment they'd like to make at this time. Hearing none, thank you. We'll move on, and again, we'll open it back up before we adjourn. Under, and I trust everybody got a copy of the agenda. Debbie, I'll have your packet for you when we're done today. First item under fiscal and contractual, we do have a repository bid that was made recently. Vanessa, what number would we assign this?
73.
73, thank you. This parcel is ID number 25-387700. It's located on Fording Road in Neshannock Township. A bid of $500 was made to the tax claim office in the amount of $500. This bid was accepted by the Neshannock Township supervisors on February 28th. And then the Neshannock Township School District also accepted the bid on March 15. The bid now comes before us, for consideration. This is proposed resolution number 73. Would there be a motion for us to move on this, please?
I move we accept the resolution.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you, Dan. Chris or Dan, any comments or questions? Hearing none, we'll take a roll call vote.
Commissioner Sinata?
Yes.
Commissioner Kennedy?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. The $500 bid made by Mr. Vicheri has been accepted. We have two warrant registers in our packet from the County Controller's Office, also known as the Check Reconciliation Register. They are dated April 2 and April 4. Gentlemen, I'll give you whatever time you might need to look them over. And if you do have any questions, please feel free to raise them. But also, if you're willing to make a motion, we can accept these documents if you're so willing.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Thank you both. Any questions on the warrant registers? Hearing none. Excuse me, Vanessa, would you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Sinata?
Yes.
Commissioner Kennedy?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Also in our packet are the minutes of last week's meeting, Tuesday, April 2. Take a little time to look these over, and once we've done that, whenever you're ready, we could take a motion to adopt the minutes.
I move we adopt the minutes.
Second.
Thank you, gentlemen. Are there any questions or concerns? If not, I'll ask Vanessa to call the roll, please.
Commissioner Sinata?
Yes.
Commissioner Kennedy?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Vanessa. We move on to commissioner reports and comments, and looks like I get to go first today, and then Chris, and followed then by Commissioner Kennedy. Since we met last week, I want to note that among other things, on Friday of last week, both Commissioner Sanada and I attended a planning session for the Board of Directors for the Northwest Pennsylvania Planning Commission, along with the entire staff of that organization. And as we've noted on a number of occasions, I currently chair that Board of Directors. My role as chair will be coming to an end at the end of June. And the three of us have decided that at that point in time, I will step aside from serving on that board, and Commissioner Sanada will take my place. And we've also noted in the past that three of us also serve on the board of the Southwest Pennsylvania Planning Commission, and Commissioner Kennedy is our lead representative to that organization. He serves on the executive committee of that organization. Now, while the two of us, Mr. Sanada and I, were in, that meeting took place in Venango County on Friday, and I'll let him speak about it because I'm sure he'd like to. Commissioner Kennedy represented us at the Forward Lawrence Impact Award breakfast, which we appreciate him doing. He also very kindly represented us at a ribbon cutting ceremony later in the day in Union Township at Taco Bell. But again, I'll let Dan offer the specifics, but I do want to thank him for representing us while Chris and I were up in Franklin. And there were a number of other community events and activities that both of my colleagues went to, but I'll defer to them and let them fill you in on some of the details. I would like to note that later this afternoon, the three of us will be traveling to the Mercer County Courthouse. We will be attending the quarterly meeting of the West Central Job Partnership Governing Board, of which we are members, along with the three Mercer County commissioners. And that meeting starts at 1:30 at the Mercer County Courthouse. And it is open to the public. It is a public meeting during which we transact business at that time. And then the final thing I will note is that sometime, I'm assuming it's going to be later this week, we anticipate the need for a special meeting of the Board of Elections. I don't know if we've ironed that date out yet or not, but the purpose of having to convene the meeting, the primary purpose of the meeting for the Board of Elections, which happens to be the three of us, we have been advised that due to renovations that are being conducted at the Union Township Fire Hall, they will not be done with those, with that construction in time for the April 23 primary. So they have notified Mr. Germani of that fact, and we are looking for, and we believe we have found an alternate location, but we would need to formalize and finalize that at the upcoming special meeting. We anticipate that, and we thank the Union Township supervisors. They have indicated that they would be willing to allow the polling place that has been held at the fire hall to move over to the township building, which already does host one precinct. But Mr. Germani went out and looked, and he determined that there's enough room in that building that we could have one half of the room be dedicated to the one precinct, the other half of the room to the other. Now, that is still tentative, And we have to iron out a few details, but that's what we're hoping will transpire. By law, we have to take formal action at a public meeting to approve this transfer of the location. And then Mr. Germaini would be by law, state law, obligated to send written notification to all the registered voters in that precinct, advising them of the move of the polling place. So the other item that we anticipate that we will have to talk about, and the solicitor is doing some research right now. There was a recent federal court decision. This issue has gone back and forth quite often now relative to the dating, putting of a date on the mail-in ballot documents that the voter is required to do. And the solicitor is recommending that we take formal action at a public meeting of the election board to address the latest court ruling and put into practice that ruling as it relates to the dating of the ballots. We'll have more discussion about that at that meeting. So, and Debbie, once we know of when that meeting is, we're hoping it should be maybe later this week. We're hoping. We'll certainly let you know. And of course, we'll do the appropriate legal ad. So those are my comments. I'm sorry I took so much time. Commissioner Sanada, you get to go next.
I'll just briefly, our visit up to the Northwest Commission, I thought went very well on Friday. In the afternoon session, we had a chance to meet with different staff members, and I had that opportunity to meet them since I would be taking over Commissioner Butler's spot on that commission. So I thought it went well because they can be very helpful in Lawrence County, and Commissioner Butler was the chairman up there, so he was very well respected up there, and his advice was good, and I'm glad I had an opportunity to meet with each and every one of the staff. I think that they do that once a year, and it gives the commissioners an opportunity to meet with them, get to understand exactly what each one of them does. So it was, I think, a very busy week. I'll mention the other ribbon cutting we did up there. I'm sure Commissioner Kennedy's going to talk about the one on Friday, and we had a chance to go to the sports cuts up in Union. So I think that was a very positive thing in the community because that plaza, to my knowledge, is almost 100% filled. And I think within the next month or two, it will be 100% filled. But we had a chance, and it was good to see. I think 9 employees is going to be working there. So that's good for the county, and I think that's so important. I'll just briefly touch on a couple of things I did. I had an opportunity to go to the Lawrence County Cancer Group's big event on Saturday. I just want to special shout out to all of them. I had to tell her as the president, she has a great group of volunteers. They do so much in the community to help cancer patients. They raise money, provide services. I mean, it's all volunteer, and they had a very large turnout. So that speaks to the volume of Lawrence County. When those type of charitable events happen, they come. And so I just thought I would throw that out there as well. So I mean, they really do a nice job out there. So I'll probably just follow up on that with it was a big day in Lawrence County yesterday. I got the opportunity to go to Westminster College. I know everyone was in different spots. I think, Debbie, you were up in Mercer County from what I read. You got a good view, didn't you?
So Newcastle people there too.
Yeah. View's very beautiful. I will say this, Westminster College yesterday did an outstanding job. I really was impressed with what they did. That is a true jewel to the community. And the activities that were going on for many hours. And when you saw the students, and we had people from all over the county show up, young kids and adults, seniors, and it was very educational in a way with their different stations they had set up. Stuff for kids, but telescopes. And it was a very, it was another one of those once in a lifetime type of events, which no matter where you were in the county, you experienced, right, Chad? You had to keep a big eye on all that, right, to keep us all safe.
Yeah, they hyped it up pretty good.
Yeah, it was. It was high. Well, hopefully it generated some revenue for the for the county as far as businesses. I mean, so there was enthusiasm, but I just, like I said, I just wanted to throw that out there about Westminster. They do a lot of these type of things out there. Sometimes, you know, people don't always realize it. And I had a chance to talk to some of the professors, and they were all pitching in, and the students. I think that's big, because the students really, you know, without the students there doing what they do, we wouldn't, you know, it wouldn't be as successful as what it is. So that's pretty much my comments for the week, and I look forward to another week. It's just been, we're on our 4th month, and we really haven't stopped yet, so we're going to keep moving along. So that's it for me.
Thank you, Commissioner Sanada. I do have a feeling that the 2 rest stops out on Route 79 in Plain Grove Township probably got a lot of business yesterday.
Yeah, all the roads in Lawrence County, 376, 422, 79 was, they said, backed up from Portersville up to Erie. My wife came home from Niles. It took her close to 2 hours to get home from Niles, Ohio last night at 5:30. So
You weren't aware of any, in the county, of any problems related to that yesterday?
no incidents, just the traffic issues.
Sure. I'm glad to hear that, Chad. Thank you. And Dan, before I turn it over to you, I meant to tell you, not that you need more paperwork, but I brought back a packet from the Northwest Commission meeting that Chris and I attended. A lot of that is economic related, and since you serve on the Forward Lawrence board, I'll loan you my packet if you like. With that, I'll turn it over to you.
Talk about Forward Lawrence. Forward Lawrence had their Impact Awards on Friday. I got to attend along with a good group of people here from the courthouse. So it was a nice event, nice breakfast. Instead of a lunch, they did a breakfast. I thought it was pretty nice. I don't know what Debbie thought, but Debbie joined us, and we had a good group of here from the courthouse turn out for that. So I appreciate all them coming and supporting Forward Lawrence and their endeavors. The other thing I had to do is I took Joe with me to Taco Bell. We went up for ribbon cutting, and I said, "Come on, Joe, go for a ride." So we went up and got to welcome them to Lawrence County, and then found out they're going to tear down the one in Shenango and rebuild it to the one that looks like the one in Union Township. So I guess they're turning into sheets. When they get bad, they just tear them down and build a new one. So it's tearaway stores. But besides that, the Union Lions Club had a great outing on Saturday night. Chris and I were there, along with a lot of group of people here from the courthouse too. Richard Rapone's wife, Linda, helps that event. And they got a nice turnout here for the people here in the courthouse. So it was a nice night. Coming up next week, I will be in Pittsburgh on Tuesday, because I'm going to run out of this meeting early. I've been invited to go down and meet with different people from local foundations that are looking for what they can do to help us out communities. So I'm going to spend some time down there with Rich Fitzgerald and people from the SPC, and hopefully learn something and see what we can do to bring something back here to the county. So it's going to be a busy, next week looks like it's going to be a busy week for me. So this week don't look too bad. But that's what I got.
Well, thank you. And again, Dan, thanks for representing us at a couple of those events that we weren't able to attend. And I do want to tell you how much I appreciate your leadership, both with Forward Lawrence and with SPC. That's time consuming, but you certainly bring a lot to the table. So thank you for that. We will move along to new business, and Mike Grippo is with us this morning from Children and Youth Services. Mike, how are you today?
I'm doing great.
That's good to hear. You have a proposal, number 74, I believe, that would enter the county into an agreement with Attorney Kevin Lorello for legal services. Would you like to give us a little bit of background, please?
Yeah, I mean, right now, John Bonjavingo is our solicitor, and he's the only one. And the amount of cases, court hearings that we have, it's 40 caseworkers. It's impossible for one person to do it. So I think maybe the last couple of years we've had an assistant solicitor,
Right.
and John recommended him to be our solicitor, and I'm proposing that he is our solicitor.
And Mike, if I recall correctly too, there were not very many, but a few cases that Mr. Bongiovango would have to recuse himself from because of his prior, before becoming
Right,
solicitor,
right.
there were some cases he had. So I'm assuming those would be handled by Attorney
Right.
Lorello.
And Kevin also served as the county representative, so between that, then they can, whoever, if he's involved in one, then John would take it, and vice versa.
Thank you for noting that. And then, based on this resolution, the contract that we will enter into with Attorney Lorello would be a fixed rate not to exceed $20,000 per year. And this would take effect, actually, it would go retroactive to April 1 and conclude on December 31.
Right.
And let me see if my colleagues have any questions. I'll start with Commissioner Kennedy.
No.
Okay, thank you, sir. Commissioner Sanada, any questions? Okay, thank you. Well, gentlemen, may I have a motion then for proposed resolution 74?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Thank you both. If there are no other concerns, I'll request a roll call, please.
Commissioner Sinata,
Yes.
Commissioner Kennedy,
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler.
Yes,
Motion carries.
thank you. Mike, as always, it's good to see you.
Yeah.
And, stay safe.
Okay.
Appreciate your joining us today.
You're welcome.
Take care.
Yep.
That is standard line. You're welcome to stay, but if you have to head back up, we understand.
I have to head back.
Okay, thanks, Mike.
All right, you're welcome.
Next is proposed resolution 75. This involves a recommendation being given to the commissioners from the Lawrence County Opioid Advisory Board that met on April 2. They had a public meeting in this room on April 2. The board looks at the revenue that the county receives from the opioid lawsuits, and then has reviewed applications for funding from various organizations in the county. The ultimate decision is made by this board based upon the recommendations of the advisory board. Mr. Vanasco serves on that board. This resolution would, if we approve it, would allow for the allocation of funds to the following entities. There would be a $40,000 grant from the opioid fund in the towards the Lawrence County Medical Society, and then $20,000 to the Lawrence County Recovery Coalition, and $20,000 to the Lawrence County Game Changers Program. Joe, would you be able to maybe give us a little review of what each of these groups would like to do with these dollars, if you're able to?
Yeah, I am. The Medical Society, Lawrence County Medical Society puts on an event, first and foremost, a large event where they bring keynote speakers into Lawrence County to meet with professionals across the board that would deal with opioid issues, from our local PCPs that we go to visit to doctors at the hospital. There's a strong UPMC presence to it, as well, and the provider networks that are out there. Our drug and alcohol programs involved, our mental health, which there's a lot of crossover now, co-occurring, attend that. And then also to expand on it, it's for them to also be able to continue their education program of our local doctors about the risk and concerns with overprescribing different medications that could obviously cause an opioid addiction. The Lawrence County Game Changers program is an after-school program for youth. They're located actually down at the town hall right now, is where their office is. They've been providing services basically with no income, just doing it on their own, but they needed upgrades across the board to be able to expand the program. And the advisory board felt unanimously that it was well used funding from the opioid. And then the Lawrence County Recovery Coalition, and it slipped in my mind a little bit of exactly what they were providing. But all three of the providers, the main thing that we looked with were what they were requesting was basically following the guidelines set forth through the opioid trust, so that the funding was appropriately utilized. And all three of these providers were ready to go and following the recommendations of the board.
Thanks, Joe. I got a couple quick questions for you. Can you refresh our memories as to who serves on the advisory board?
Absolutely. President, Judge Motto, our DA, Josh Lamacuso, Becky Abramson from our drug and alcohol program, Scott Baldwin from our mental health program, John Bout from CYS, Loretta Spielvogel from the jail, and myself from the Commissioner's office.
Thank you. And then my other question before I turn it over to Commissioner Sonato. Did these three organizations provide, so that you have a written record, did they provide documentation that your board was able to review?
Absolutely. All three submitted an application, which is a county. We came up with the application, and they all expanded greatly on it with their own personal insights on what exactly they were going to use every bit of the funding for.
Thank you for that. I appreciate that background. Chris, do you have questions for Mr. Vanasco?
Well, Joe, not a lot of questions, but in my previous life, I've dealt with all three of these organizations, and I do believe they're all credible and they do good work. I know that I've been to some events with the Recovery Coalition throughout the community, and the Medical Society is very active in our community. The Game Changers, I've had that opportunity last couple of years to see it and tour the facility. I think we're due for another tour down there, but it's like they do a pretty good job. They started off out here at the church up on East Washington. Now they're down at the old town hall. So I have no issues with this. I think it'll do good for the community. From my experience in the past dealing with these three, so Joe, if you have the written game plan, and I'm sure it's going to be done in an efficient, proper manner. So I just wanted to throw that out there. So I'm familiar with them. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Commissioner Kennedy, any questions?
The only comment I got, Joe's on the board, I'm okay, because he's looking out for our dollars every day. So, Joe, I appreciate what you do.
Thank you, Dan. Yeah, likewise, Joe. Appreciate your bringing this to our attention. That being said, gentlemen, may I have a motion for proposed resolution 75?
I move we accept resolution 75.
Second.
Thank you, both gentlemen. If there are no other concerns, we'll have a roll call, please.
Commissioner Sonato?
Yes.
Commissioner Kennedy?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes,
Motion carries.
thank you. Out of respect for Mr. Strobel's schedule, would you gentlemen object if we drop down to item B, resolutions on the table? No. Any problem with that? No. Thank you. Chad, if you wouldn't mind coming up. Chad Strobel is our public safety director. We did have a proposed resolution from his office last week, and for a couple of reasons you weren't able to be with us, both very legitimate reasons. You were under the weather, but we had a lot of flooding last week.
Yeah.
So you requested that we postpone a vote on this, which we certainly understand. Vanessa, would this be 76 then? Okay, thank you. And this resolution involves an agreement we have with the Association of Public Safety Communications Officials International, also known as APCO. But I'll let you give us the details on what it is you're looking for here, if you would, please, Chad.
Right, yeah, as far as our part of our operations within public safety and 911 center, we have 23 different radio frequencies that we have licensed through the FCC. Those come up at various times, 5-year cycles for renewal, or 5 or 10-year cycles, depending on what type of frequency is for renewal and relicensing. It's kind of tough to keep track of efficiently, and when it does come up, it takes quite a few personnel hours to go through the application process, make sure all the I's are dotted, T's are crossed, go through the, called letter of concurrences with other counties who those frequencies may interfere with. In signing up with APCO, they will keep track of all those frequencies. They'll handle all the paperwork when it comes time to renew them. They'll go through the investigation with our surrounding counties that this may interfere with and make sure those letters of concurrence are documented and handled. So it's slightly cheaper to go with them on a contract, that they take care of it rather than them trying to catch us up when it's time to renew them. And go back and forth with them. It's just going to cut down on time and save some funding to have them just take care of it. Like I said, there's 23 across various bandwidths. I mean, there's part of our digital radio system. Some are backup frequencies in case our digital radio system goes down. Some are tactical ones in case we have a major event happen. So it's hard to get these frequencies now. So maintaining them is important, because if we lose them, we won't get them back because of how many people are using these frequencies. So this will just cover us. They'll keep track of all of our frequencies and make sure we're renewed and we're staying in compliance with the FCC regulations.
Chad, thank you. And speaking of the word renewed, we've been doing business with this. This is not new, or is this new?
No, they do our renewals now.
Okay.
Kind of like piecemeal. Just,
Yeah.
As they come up, they do them. But we also work with them for our training of new dispatchers. They have a telecommunicator basic certification. We have all of our telecommunicators dispatchers are certified through them as telecommunicators. Also, our training people are certified through them as instructors. So they handle everything. Our radio is up to their standards. So they're kind of the standard setter nationwide for telecommunications and public safety.
Appreciate that information. And one other thing before I open it for questions from my colleagues, the amount of this agreement for a one-year period is $2,260. Mr. Kennedy, do you have any questions for Chad?
The only thing I'll make a comment, having to deal with one FCC license, I have to deal with it Wilmington. It's a pain in the butt, so you're gonna do it. It's time consuming just for one there. And to do this, it saves time for you to have to deal with this. Very well, money well spent, because we'd be paying him thousands of dollars to do it.
And it's time consuming, like you said. It takes up a lot of personnel hours that could be spent
Doing something else.
Thank you, Dan, for noting that. I appreciate that. And Commissioner Sanada.
I don't have any questions on that, Jeff, but just a quick question. I got your email this morning. I know you've been sending us lots of them with all these storms you've been monitoring. Are we getting a hailstorm tonight?
There's a chance of hail. It's mostly, I think, going to be much less rain over the next 3 days. Not too much severe as at the first. I haven't got an update yet from this morning. That was about 4 o'clock this morning. They sent that out. I haven't got an update yet, but I don't think it's going to be very severe weather. But just over the next 3 days, we're going to get more rain.
Just what we need.
Yeah.
All right, well, thanks, Chad. I do appreciate those updates. When I opened it this morning, I saw these charts with hail.
Yeah.
That was, and Mike Lawrence County and Dan Kennedy. It all seems to change right up around Wilmington and Pulaski in that area. So you seem to get the harder hit.
On the dumping grounds.
I don't know. That's what Chad's chart showed.
20 years I've noticed that. It's coming from the west. It kind of veers around. It hits Enon Valley. It hits Pulaski. Kind of branches just at the top of Wilmington, New Wilmington Borough, and wraps back down around into Perry Township, Wilmington Township, and hits Butler. For some reason, there's a.
I just noticed that this morning, all the charts that you sent. So we do look at that.
Yeah.
I just want you to know, we do look at it. Well, thank you. Appreciate your efforts.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Chad. Gentlemen, in order for us to consider this, I would first need a motion. This matter is on the table currently. This is proposed resolution 76. Could I have a motion to remove it from the table, please?
So be it.
I'll second.
Thank you both. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Sinata,
Yes.
Commissioner Kennedy,
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler,
Yes.
motion carries.
That allows us to now consider the resolution 76. May I have a motion for us to approve it, please?
I move we approve the resolution.
Second.
Thank you both. Any final questions or concerns before we vote? Hearing none, I'll ask Vanessa to do a roll call, please.
Commissioner Sinata,
Yes.
Commissioner Kennedy,
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler,
Yes.
motion carries.
Thank you. Chad, as always, I hope you're feeling better.
Yeah.
That's good.
Well, got over the sinus infection, now it's allergies.
Oh, boy. You can't win, can you?
Thank you for your help.
Oh, you're welcome, sir. Glad. Like I said, I don't want to get that water out of there too fast and cause more damage to terraries or whatever it is now.
Yeah.
Kind of slow and steady, but one I got to take care of.
Thank you for helping out, guys. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thanks, God. Oh, so thanks for the coffee.
Yeah.
That was the important part. It was early.
Chad, as always,
Thank you. Have a good day.
thanks for all you do. Not to give him a swelled head, we're very fortunate to have him as our public safety director.
Over the past couple of weeks, I've called him about a couple of things. Want to know what city and he did a very good job there in helping Wilmington Township. They had flooding issues and Chad was more than willing to help. So him and Rich stepped up and went and helped them what they could do. And Dave, I'm going to get Dave White was with them. So he's got a good crew out there.
That's great. Let's jump back then to item 3. We have some transfer requests. I'll walk us through them. Dan or Chris, stop me if you want to raise any questions. The first comes from the public defender. They are asking for a $500 transfer from their contingency into that of the attorney fee line item. They're stating here there have been an unusual amount of bills from other counties to represent Lawrence County parolees. The district attorney's office is asking for a $6,000 transfer from their contingency into that of vehicle expense. Also from the district attorney's office, a request of a $4,000 transfer from their line item known as travel expense prisoner into the line item of travel and training. And then Children and Youth Services is asking for a transfer of $70,800 from the special grants line item into the EBP grant line item, which is the Nurturing Parent Program. And again, that's from within their budget. Finally, the Veterans Office is asking for a $1,500 transfer from their line item known as Other Services into that of flags and markers that will allow them to purchase additional veteran grave markers. And of course, that's telling us that Memorial Day is coming up upon us next month. Those are the transfer requests. Gentlemen, are there any questions that you would have about any of them? Since I hear none, would one of you be willing to make a motion to approve these requests?
Yeah, I do have one.
Oh, sure.
Says veterans, other shows flags and markers, 1,800, but our paper says 1,500.
Ah, yes, it does. Joe or Vanessa, any, is maybe one of these a misprint?
That was my fault on the agenda. It should be 1,500.
Okay. So please, if you have an agenda, we'll scratch 1,800 and we'll put 1,500. So the correct amount is 1,500. Dan, thank you for catching that. Thanks, Vanessa.
Sure.
Any other questions on the transfer request? If there are no others, may I have a motion to approve them?
Motion.
I'll second. Thank you, gentlemen. Do a roll call, please.
Commissioner Sinata,
Yes.
Commissioner Kennedy,
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler,
Yes.
motion carries.
Thank you. Couple of announcements. We will meet as a Board of Commissioners a week from today on April 16 at 10 o'clock. We'll note that Commissioner Kennedy will be representing us at a meeting in Pittsburgh that day. Dan, please, if you have to leave it a little earlier, we understand.
I get out of here by 10:30. We'll be fine.
Okay, we don't want to rush you, so whatever works for you. I should note too, it's not on the document, but 2 weeks from today is Election Day. The courthouse will be open, but the Board of Commissioners traditionally does not meet on Election Day. As we noted earlier, at 1:30 this afternoon, the West Central Job Partnership Governing Board will hold its quarterly meeting at 1:30 at the Mercer County Courthouse. That meeting is open to the public. I should note that the prison board meeting that was originally scheduled for Wednesday, April 17th, we're going to cancel that meeting. I should say the chair of that board, or District Attorney Lamancusa, has noted that the meeting will be canceled, rescheduled for Wednesday, April 24 at noon in this room. That prison board meeting is open to the public, and as we've noted oftentimes, the prison board consists of 7 members based on state law, 3 of us, the district attorney, the president judge, the county controller, and the county sheriff. There are 7 of us that have oversight of the prison. And then as I noted, we don't have a date and time yet, but we anticipate hopefully this week sometime, a special meeting of the election board. But right now we don't have that nailed down. As I noted, Debbie will let you know. Public comments. Does anybody have any comments or questions?
I have a couple
Debbie?
of questions.
Sure.
Who is the buyer on the property of the repository?
Oh, his name is Matthew Bacheri, and it'll be in the documents I give you. It's spelled B as in boy, Ucceri, Bacheri.
And also the opioid allocations. How many applications did you get?
We had 5 applications to be reviewed. And these go back, Debbie, to September 1st was the cutoff date of 2023. And the funding, they changed their funding mechanism. So we couldn't really meet on them and distribute any funding out until the funding came in at the end of the year, like December 28th.
Funding that came from the state.
The opioid trust.
From the opioid trust,
Yes.
which is some agency in Harrisburg's handling.
That's
that.
correct.
Yeah.
That's correct.
Debbie, anything else? Thank you. Other questions or comments? Hearing none. Closing comments from my 2 fellow commissioners. I'll start with Commissioner Sanada. I think we covered it up. Thank you, sir. Commissioner Kennedy?
I'm good.
All righty, thank you. Vanessa or Joe, anything perhaps we've overlooked? That's good to know, thank you. Well, we appreciate you all joining us today, and wish you a safe afternoon. May I please have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I move we adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, the same sign. Motion carries. The meeting is adjourned. Joe will be turning off the computer here shortly. I neglected to mention, I'm glad while it's still on. Forgive me, I should have said this at the very beginning. This meeting was being recorded, live streamed, and recorded over there.